Welcome, OpenStack community. To kick things off, please welcome Akihiro Hasegawa.
こんにちは皆さん、OpenStack サミットへようこそ。Hello everyone, welcome to Tokyo. Yes, my name is Akira Hasegawa from Japan OpenStack user group. So when we started our user group, the number of members is really small. Maybe I think it's the same situation as your user group, I think. But today, I see a lot of influential OpenStackers here. And you know, in this Tokyo Summit, we have more than 5,000 attendees from the 56 countries. It's quite a nice number, right? Yes, now OpenStack is one of the greatest open source projects without any questions. So as you know, OpenStack is a community-based project. So we need your power to keep growing this community. So we put our head together here and make the world more innovative here in Tokyo. Okay? So, are you ready to start? Yeah. Okay. We cannot talk about OpenStack without these guys. So please join me in welcoming OpenStack Foundation's Executive Director, Jonathan Bryce.
Thank you, Hasegawa-san. That is, I would say, by far the nicest introduction anyone has ever given me. It's great. A couple of quick notes here just before we get started. We have simultaneous interpretation today. Everyone has a headset on their seat. Channel 1 is Japanese. Channel 2 is English. We will have some Japanese speakers later this morning, so you'll need that for the English later. Channel 3 is Chinese, and Channel 4 is Korean. So here we are in Tokyo. This is so exciting to be here. It's been a summit that we've been planning for quite a while, and it's, as Akihiro said, we have over 5,000 people here this week from 56 countries. So it's definitely the largest event that we have had outside of North America. And a couple of housekeeping notes before we get going here. As always, there is a lot of information on your badge besides just your name. If you look inside, there's a packet. I think it's like an octofold this time or something. We keep getting bigger and bigger. That's because this is a summit with a lot of content and a lot of locations. We are spread all around this complex here with the different Prince hotels and the International Convention Center. Right now, we are here in the blue building, and here in this room, we are up on the top floor. But we actually, this is a very big event, and we've had to expand our general sessions to a number of rooms. We actually have, I think, 8 overflow rooms. So, we have community members all over right now. There's some filing into one of the other. Wave to them. They can see us. And throughout the week, there's going to be great content all over the campus. In the Grand Prince Hotel, that is where the marketplace is. And I just want to say thank you to all of the sponsors. They make this event possible, and they make it possible for us to support having our developers here, having our travel support attendees here, and really allow us to do great things for the community. So when you get a chance, go down to the marketplace. There's some cool things. I saw this this 3D car simulation down there. That looked pretty cool, and some racetracks and stuff. Design summit sessions are happening in the Grand Prince Takanawa Hotel, and then there are a lot of work groups over at the Sakura Tower. It's a lot of information, I know. Read the maps, as Claire Massey says, read the maps. But if you have any questions, there are friendly wayfinders everywhere. One other thing to mention, we have a new updated version of our mobile app for this event. You can go through and you can find information on all of the sessions, and a new feature is you can provide feedback. So please take the time to do this and give us feedback on the different sessions that are happening. We take all of that and we use it to help plan future summits and to be able to know what kind of content is really valuable for our attendees. So please, when you get a chance, do that. Lunch, again, it's in a number of different locations. There is a lunch map available online, and also if you pick up a copy of Superuser magazine, those are available downstairs in this building. It has a lunch map. It's kind of like a treasure map, except for delicious food. And you can find out where you need to go to eat lunch. It's in pretty much every building. There are a couple of different options. And Superuser magazine has some really great content. It has features on all of our Superuser finalists. It has articles from different community members, different work groups, users, and so there's a lot of good information in there too. And one final thing to mention, in the marketplace, we have our Stacker swag store, and that's where you can go get your giveaway. We have beautiful umbrellas and we have shirts that feature the We Are OpenStack symbol. This is something that ties into an initiative that has been kicked off this year around diversity. We really have been trying to put effort into encouraging diversity in the OpenStack community and in the tech industry overall. So We Are OpenStack. Use that as a hashtag as well. Tweet, Instagram, share your experience, show our diversity, and also make sure that you go get your swag from the store. NTT Communications has provided our network this week, and they know a little bit about networks. So they have been able to set up a really fabulous network environment for us here, so thank you to them. And then one final thank you that I want to make is to the leaders of the Japanese OpenStack user group. Putting these events on takes a lot of work, and the foundation staff is really small, so we depend on a lot of assistance from people in the community, and the Japanese OpenStack user group has been helping us for over a year to find the venue, to help get things worked out. It was maybe earlier this year, Akihiro-san and Tori-san were walking us around Tokyo in what I think was a record snowstorm to help us figure out how to pull this off. So thank you very much to them for the support. OpenStack is a very global community. We're here in Japan. Some of you may not realize we actually have 3 gold members who are based here in Japan. NEC, Hitachi, and Fujitsu is a new gold member this year. We have a large number of contributors who are from Japan, especially on the network side. And we're going to have some really strong Japanese users who are speaking today and tomorrow in the keynotes, and then also throughout the conference. So it's really cool to see when we go to these events and we move them all around the world to see how global our community is. And that's what we talked about in Vancouver as the OpenStack-powered planet. How many attendees here are from Japan, actually? Raise your hand if you're from Japan. OK, good. So the rest of you are not. How many of you who are not from Japan are here in Japan for the first time? Wow. That's amazing. That is so amazing to see how many people are here in Japan for the first time. I've been fortunate enough to be able to come here a number of times, and I always love being able to come interact with the community, and it's great that all of you are here, and you're going to get to experience that this week. As we travel around, as we see our global community, as we put on events like this, one of the things that we always see is a need for talent. We need more OpenStack talent. We need more OpenStack expertise. And a couple of years ago, we launched an initiative at the foundation to create a training marketplace. This was a marketplace where training providers could list out courses and different sessions that they would teach to help more OpenStack experts be available. And this has been pretty successful. We've delivered hundreds of courses in dozens of countries around the world in the last 2 years. But there's more that needs to be done. We still have this gap in talent. And so one of the things that I'm really excited to announce today is our first certification for individuals. And this is the Certified OpenStack Administrator. Anytime that you have a new technology, there's always a challenge in finding that talent. The talent always lags the technology. As I mentioned, we've had our training program, we've been working with universities, and now we're launching a professional certification to help tie those programs together and help establish a good standard baseline of expertise and of skills that can be available worldwide. So this is going to be an OpenStack certification test that is going to be delivered virtually so that it can be used globally, and the tests are going to be administered starting in 2016. So really excited about that, and looking forward to seeing how that rolls out and helps push more OpenStack talent. This is something that's been developed in the community with help from operators, from training partners, and a number of different people who have a passion for education and for bringing more talent into OpenStack. Another thing that we just announced was the latest release, Liberty. This was the 12th release of OpenStack, and it was the biggest release yet. We had almost 2,000 developers that contributed to this release. How many of you here had a contribution in the Liberty release cycle? Yeah, great. Thank you. So these are the people that are building the OpenStack software, and they're going to have a busy week ahead of them as well. The Liberty release cycle had over 4 million lines of code in it. And so the OpenStack world of software is continuing to grow larger and larger thanks to the efforts of our developers. In this release cycle, I think that there were a few themes that really stood out if you looked at the work that got done: manageability, scalability, and extensibility. And those first two, when I went through and I looked at some of the updates that had happened and some of the new features that rolled out, things like a pluggable scheduler, easier upgrades, and better performance in the upgrades, especially on the data side. These are things that when I talk to operators, when I go to the operators meetups, when our working groups like the enterprise work group and the product work group talk about OpenStack, these are things that they say are so important to improve the user experience. And I think that that focus on manageability and scalability was really visible in Liberty. And so that really excites me, because I think that shows that we're on the right path and meeting user needs. And I think there's an interesting dynamic there. Anytime you have software, you have two groups. You have developers and you have users. And we have always talked about users and talked about developers, especially at this event. It's actually built into the logo for the summit. If you look at that, there are the arrows with the users and the devs. But in some software development models, the users are almost firewalled off from the developers. The developers are hidden away somewhere, and there are layers of sales and product management that are between them. And maybe the users can be involved at the front end on the requirements phase. They can talk a little bit about what they'd like to see. And then it goes into this giant machine, and sometime, a year or 2 year, depends on the company, could be 3 years later, something comes out, and that's their version, and they have to take it. But what's really awesome about open development models and the OpenStack development model is that everyone can be involved in every phase of the process. And users have the opportunity to be right in the middle of it. They can help with the requirements. We have users who have been in the top 20 contributors consistently, like Comcast and Yahoo and others that are actually writing the software. And we have new mechanisms like the working groups that I mentioned earlier that allow users to have a voice. And so this is such a key part of OpenStack, the ability to get involved and to impact the direction of the software and to contribute directly to it. That's a huge thing. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, we saw that in Liberty with the manageability and the scalability and some of those updates. But let's talk about extensibility a little more. The Liberty release cycle was the first release cycle that happened under our new project organization model. And the goal of reorganizing the way that upstream work was recognized and managed was really to encourage more innovation, to encourage more projects to operate in that model that we just talked about, to follow the OpenStack way and to open up their development so that people could participate in it. And so we went from a release that had a pretty limited set of projects to something where we see a lot of projects now that are developed here. And this is not an extensive list, as it says many more. But now, there are official projects for things like governance with Congress, for Magnum, the container service, and a variety of new ones. Astara was one of the latest that is an SDN networking service. And so it's really encouraging the ability to innovate and to move projects along and to get a lot of good development effort around them. But that has been something that has been confusing to some people, because now it's like, what is OpenStack? And what are all of these other projects? And so I think that we're going to talk a little bit about this, and hopefully we can clear it up a little bit. I think that as you look at the world of OpenStack, and you look at data that we get from our user survey, for instance, what you see are there are some core services that are deployed 80, 90% of the time. Those are the services that are common across almost every OpenStack environment. They provide that base functionality of compute, storage, and networking. And then you look and you see great functionality, great innovative technology like big data analytics or relational database as a service that may not be as widely deployed, but that still provides a critical business function. And people and organizations, they optionally deploy that as well if they need that capability. And this is, I think, something that is a really powerful model when you have a common baseline plus all of this additional capability built around it. That common baseline is something that we talked about in Vancouver. In Vancouver, we announced our interoperability requirements. And that was something that we've been rolling out this year. And if you go to the openstack.org/marketplace website, you can see the products and services that have complied with that interoperability guidelines. There are over 25 now in just the last 5 months that have gone through the testing process and have met all of these requirements and have a common baseline deployed in there. And so that's super exciting to see that come along. Those interoperability guidelines, as pretty much everything we do, those are designed and built through a community process. And interoperability is so key to user experience, and it's so key to ensuring that as we continue to move quickly on the development side, we still have a common user experience that is available for all of our OpenStack operators. So to talk a little bit more about this, I want to bring out the co-chair of the Dev Core Committee, Egla Sigler. So help me welcome Egla. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Egla.
Thank you for having me.
Could you tell us a little bit about why you think that interoperability is important and strategic and really key to making sure that there's a common experience for users?
So I think interoperability is really about user experience. With OpenStack growing in size and scope each release, it is really up to operators to decide what will be in each cloud that they operate. This could lead to slightly different flavors of OpenStack. Interoperability and DevCore is about making sure that the lock-in in these special flavors does not happen.
So you mentioned that DevCore there, and DevCore is the committee that sets the standards for interoperability. Can you tell us how you guys approach that and the process that you take to define those specifications?
DevCore is really a community-driven process. First, we start out by scoring capabilities. Scoring includes looking at each capability and seeing how commonly it is used, are other tools are using it, and what is its technical direction. After we score it, we take it back to the community and say, is this really commonly used? What do you think about it? And we take the feedback and reevaluate and then publish in the next guideline.
And so, it's a community process, and we have a big chunk of the community here this week. I'm assuming that DevCore is going to have some sessions. Can you tell people how they can get involved if they are interested in helping to push DevCore and interoperability forward.
We really need all of your help, and you have two ways to get involved. One is by providing data. To provide us data, run DevCore tests using RevStack. RevStack was written specifically for DevCore testing, and it helps you upload your cloud test data to the OpenStack Foundation that they can evaluate, and we can actually see what is really commonly used. Another way to get involved is by participating in DevCore meetings. We have meetings weekly on IRC. We also have DevCore mailing list, and you can reach out to either myself or Rob Hirschfeld, my co-chair, and directly talk to us if you're having any issues or questions. Also, this afternoon, we're having DevCore 101 session. Hope you're able to join us. And tomorrow, we will have 2 working sessions.
OK, well, thank you very much, Agla.
Thank you, Jonathan.
So if interoperability and you know, a common experience across OpenStack clouds is something that you care about, there are a lot of ways to get involved, and some that are happening here this week. Agla mentioned that they score, and one of the things they score on is around adoption and maturity and the time that a project has been in development, and a number of other factors. But I think maturity and adoption are actually 2 really important ones. And when we were in Vancouver, we talked about maturity and adoption and put together kind of a quadrant that we call the innovation quadrant. Mark Collier talked about how most technologies start out as an experiment, and experiments lead to breakthroughs, and you end up with successful technologies being widely adopted and mature, and those are the ones that stand the test of time and really make their mark. If we go back a few years, we go back to 2010, when OpenStack was first starting, we had the Nova Compute service that was in development, and that was a project that was fairly immature. No offense to the team that started it, but it was very young, and also there were 2 organizations that were running it, Rackspace and NASA, and Rackspace was really only doing POC work on Nova at the time. But you look at something like virtualization, and it was right near that breakthrough point. And you move forward 5 years, and virtualization is pretty much ubiquitous. Everybody's running virtualization in some form or fashion. And in the OpenStack world, Nova is extremely widely adopted and has made huge strides in maturity. And so that's a couple of technologies. But I think it's interesting to think about this from an OpenStack perspective. And after Mark talked about this, I made a slide that I presented a few times over the summer that had some different OpenStack projects on this quadrant. And I see a lot of you taking a picture of this slide, which happens every time that I put it up. And so I thought, that's kind of sad. Maybe we should give them this information in another way so they don't always have to take a picture of the slide. And the other piece of it is it's constantly changing. If we look at it now, 6 months later, in the most recent user survey, it was really interesting to see how Heat and Ceilometer adoption had climbed. Neutron adoption had climbed a lot. Mark Collier is going to talk about that tomorrow in his keynote. And we have new projects. I mentioned Astara. Agla mentioned RefStack, a variety of them. But we want you to have this information all the time, not just when I put it on a slide. So another thing that we're announcing today that I'm really excited about is a new section on our website, which is all about navigating the world of OpenStack software. And we call this the Project Navigator. So this section talks about those common services, and it talks about a lot of that awesome innovation and the great functionality that we're seeing happen in the OpenStack ecosystem. What's really cool about this is it pulls in data from the technical committee tagging effort. It pulls in data from the user survey. It pulls in data from the ops meetups tagging and ops data. It has Stackalytics data, pulls in tons of data from all of these different sources and presents it in a way where you can go and you can look at these projects and you can see how widely deployed is it, how long has it been in development, and decide for yourself, do I want to deploy this now? Do I want to wait until it's more well-tested and more mature. Or maybe this is a piece of functionality that I know my business needs, and I'm willing to be on the bleeding edge and take a little bit more risk. So really happy to announce this, and I hope that you all go check it out, openstack.org/software. This is the initial release, so we want a lot of feedback. Tell us what's missing, tell us what you'd like to see in there, and we can iterate on it as we go. What all of this points to, though, is I think an interesting situation that we're seeing develop. Many OpenStack environments start out and they look like this. It's a bunch of physical machines with a bunch of virtual machines packed on top of them. That's how most people start with OpenStack. When you look at the data from the user survey, and if you go to that software section, you'll see that there are some sample configurations. One of the things that was really interesting to see is that as people deploy something like Sahara to do Hadoop, to do big data analysis, they are more likely to deploy Ironic as well, and far more likely than in other configurations. And so it's interesting to start to see some of those patterns emerge. And that's what happens a lot of times. They start out with virtual machines, and then they have a use case like that where they want bare metal. Magnum is a project that has gained a lot of interest in the last year, and especially in the last 6 months. And that is about managing containers. And so eventually they want to offer a container workflow to their users. And a lot of times they start out with containers and virtual machines, so they can have some extra isolation and more control around their environment. But eventually, maybe they want to get maximum density and maximum performance, and so they put containers on bare metal as well. And this is something that is happening in the real world in OpenStack environments. And what is so powerful about all of these technologies being developed in this community is that you have all of these options, and it's all in one platform. And then you look beyond just bare metal containers. You look out to the emerging technologies that are so hot right now, like Docker and Kubernetes and Mesos and other things. People want all of these to work together. And there's so many cool technologies being built right now. It again raises questions. People will ask me, do these technologies compete with OpenStack? Are they going to replace it? Do they need to run independently? Well, I have my thoughts, but what I want to do is actually bring out some really successful users and let them tell us how they see the world. So to start with, help me welcome from Lithium Technologies, Lachlan Evenson.
Hajimemashite, Lithium no Rokurani Benson to moshimasu. Yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. You're all excited? Yeah, come on. I'm excited today to share our journey with containers to production on OpenStack. But that's not the best part. I'm going to demo an end-to-end workflow from commit to deploy in less than a minute in front of your eyes. Before I get into the story, though, and our journey, I want to tell you a little bit about Lithium Technologies. At Lithium, we help brands connect, engage, and understand their customers. And we do that via online communities and social monitoring tools. We do this for a bunch of big brands like AT&T, Skype, and Virgin. Back to my story. So 6 months ago, almost to the day, my boss and I were sitting in Vancouver at the summit, and we were reflecting on our cloud platform. We'd been really successfully deploying cloud, and it was consumed. But we didn't feel like we had that aha moment where the cloud had completely transformed the way that developers were deploying our app. Around that time, we started looking at containers, and what containers could do. We thought they would refine the process. They gave developers a clean handoff where they could build and ship their applications to a common infrastructure. We could also run that container on private cloud or public cloud. We thought this was really powerful. It just so happens that at that time, the developers came to us and issued us with a challenge. They asked us, can you give us a platform to deploy 30 microservices, standard pattern, in 1 month? Now, this might sound like a feat, but we took them up on their challenge. We said, we accept your challenge. So before I went out on paternity leave, I threw up an internal repository and with very little info, gave a few developers access and said, containerize your apps. 2 weeks later, I returned. The repo was full, and there was a Post-it note on my desk saying, when can we go to production? And this was a testament to containers and the way developers could put their apps in and the ease of deployment. So then it was on us. We had 2 weeks to deploy an orchestration framework on the cloud. Thankfully, with OpenStack, we could overlay Kubernetes on top of OpenStack in less than 1 day. The rest of the journey was using the platform that OpenStack gave us to integrate logging, monitoring, and all these other suite of tools that we needed to correctly monitor and deploy containers. So with that, I want to go into what we did with containers, and we've been successfully running them for 2 months now in production, and I'm going to show you. So here is our workflow that I'm going to go through today. So this is our deployment pipeline, from commit all the way through to push on the cloud platform. Now, the real bonus points down the bottom is we're actually deploying the same container to AWS and to OpenStack and attaching that all back. So this is the same container in both places. This is very powerful. Before I go into the demo, though, I want to just show you a couple of apps that we've pushed out and the monitoring we have. So let me go over to my demo. Okay, so here is an app. This app is called Realtime. Now, this app is running completely on containers in OpenStack. And what this does is aggregates globally all our customer data and plots it on a map. This is a pulse of all the community activity around the world as we see it. So this is what's going on right now. As a testament to this, I asked for this feature 1 week ago to have an anonymous view of this data. The developer sent me an email 5 minutes after I'd made the request and said he had deployed it on the train to work, to production. That is a testament. Less than 5 minutes, he had this out with a URL. So this is a great result. This application is running completely on containers in OpenStack. Woo! Another thing I wanted to show was this is monitoring and logging. This is a dashboard we have. This is all open source through Datadog. This dashboard actually gives developers a bird's eye view of how the resources are being consumed. What I would really love to highlight down the bottom is we now have 122 running containers in production across 68 different images. And down on the bottom right there, you see the honeycomb. So that's the utilization of one production Kubernetes cluster. All right, now come with me on a journey. I am now Lachlan, the software developer. You're going to see the pipeline in action. I've written this app and deployed it. It's in prod now. This app is going to change the world. I think you'll love it. But wait, I just got a Slack from my boss saying, your app isn't in high availability, and I don't really like the app. It's not politically correct. Fix it. So they're my two challenges. He's given me 1 minute to actually go through and fix all this quite graciously. So here I am. I'm at my workstation, just got out of bed. I'm going to interrogate my little friend Qbot, who talks to Kubernetes. And I'm going to ask him what's running in OpenStack and AWS. My boss is right. I have one instance of my app running in AWS and OpenStack. So I can ask Qbot to give me more. Please scale that up. OK? Thank you, Qbot. Scaled. Woo! So now I have 3 in OpenStack, and I have 2 in AWS. But we can see that they're not all running. So let's just ask him again and make sure they're all running so I'm all happy. Now I have 5 versions of my app. Fantastic, OK? Before I go into fixing my app, though, I really want to play it. And you guys are all really welcome to play this as well. It's online, croc-hunter.lcloud.com. And this is my contribution to the world as an Australian. So you can see this. I just want to get one little kick out of it. Oh, yeah, OK. I don't think lasers and crocodiles are actually a good way to go. So you know what? I think my boss is right. Let's go fix the code. Here's my code. OK, let's bump it to version 2. And I just so happen to have a more politically correct version of the app. And I'm going to go check that in. Bumped version. This is all live. I've checked it into Git, right? Off that Git commit. Let's go back and see what happens. Let's watch the magic here. OK, So here's my build server. We can see now that it's on git commit, noticed that there's another artifact that it needs to build. It is building that right now in real time. What it's done is it's checked out the code, built a Docker container, put it in the repository, and it's ready to fire off a deploy job. So that should take, it's packing the artifact right now. It shouldn't take too much longer, but while I'm waiting, how about I just actually go back and play the game a little bit more? Because it shouldn't take too much longer. So if you guys want to get on this game, help yourself. It should be there. OK, so as always, it takes a little bit longer when you're doing a live demo. So it shouldn't be too much longer. It's telling me it's 34 seconds longer than usual, but hopefully it should actually push this out. Great, it's been built. Now I'm in a deployment step. If I go into the deployment step, I can see that it's rolling out the replicas. So I'm doing a rolling upgrade of that container in real time in AWS and in OpenStack. That's getting pushed out right now, and we should be green. That is deployed. The proof is in the pudding, right? OK, I'm on V2 of the app now. You see V2? I've rolled that out. It's live. OK, much better. I think the world really needs to fire fish at crocodiles, and I think, I do not encourage this if you ever go to Australia, because you may be the last thing you ever do. So really what I wanted to highlight is how we could utilize the OpenStack platform to deploy new infrastructure like container orchestration with no engineering effort and no more CapEx spend, which is really the power of the platform. I want to thank you guys. I'm doing a session with a deep dive into this on Thursday at 11:50. If you guys would like to join, come and ask me lots of questions. I'll dig into how it all works. But thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lachlan. That was great. And just to clarify, when he said he's doing a deep dive on this on Thursday, he's doing a deep dive into the infrastructure, not the Crocodile Hunter game. That was a really cool demo, and he kept talking about containers and OpenStack, and also, as you saw, AWS. And that's what I hear over and over and over again. People want these technologies to work together. They don't want them to be different islands. So Lachlan talked about containers, but there are a lot of other things out there. There's bare metal, there's platform as a service. And so I have another user to bring out who is making use of different technologies and integrating them into OpenStack. Help me welcome from Yahoo Japan, Takuya Ito. There you go. Good luck.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Takuya Ito. I am manager of infrastructure division related to OpenStack in Yahoo Japan. Today, I will talk about OpenStack use case in Yahoo Japan. At first, I will talk about Yahoo Japan with some example of our scale. Then, I will show you some data from our OpenStack production environment. Discuss the practical use case and operations of OpenStack. And finally, the reason why we choose OpenStack. First, I'd like to show you the scale of Yahoo Japan. This is the main Yahoo Japan site. We typically reach 64.99 billion page views a month. Next is the site for smartphones. Monthly page view for the smartphone is 31.9 billion, which is become almost the same as half of the total page view from all the devices. Over 270 million apps has been downloaded. Yahoo Japan offers more than 100 services like news, weather, shopping, car navigation, and movies. This is the statistics of our operation in only OpenStack environment. The number of concurrent instances is now more than 50,000. Network utilization is 6 times more efficient than old bare metal environment. there is 20 petabytes of data storage dedicated for the OpenStack environment. We have more than 20 OpenStack clusters running. Our OpenStack environment has doubled in the last year alone. 1 year ago, we ran 25,000 instances, and now more than 20,000. 50,000. The number of hypervisors has doubled from 2,000 to 4,000. Okay, let's move to next topic. Can you imagine what this graph shows? The answer is workload of our data center when some event happened. You can see spike here. Can you imagine what happened? The answer is an earthquake in Japan, just before this spike in workload. We only had tens of seconds for such sudden event. I'll explain what our app actually does later. But when people know certain natural disaster happens or receive disaster from app, they all come to a portal site like Yahoo Japan to know what's happening. And that causes the spike in the workload. We have some applications that give important information to users. For example, we have emergency notification and weather-related applications. These applications send emergency information like earthquake, tsunami, volcano, heat stroke, rainstorms. As you saw, we have some mission-critical applications in our data center. There are some discussions in Japan whether OpenStack can be used in the enterprise production environment or not. I think it is possible, but depends on the implementation of the applications. As an operator of the data center, we need to provide the resources rapidly. Need to keep working properly in case of emergency. And having the same interface for any operating environment is important. Whether it's KVM, VMware, container, and bare metal. Our mission is to make abstraction of the data center, and OpenStack is a core technology. Why? Is it important to provide the same API in various environments? One is the importance of the speed of the development environment for applications. Also, if the API are the same, it would be easy to move an operating environment to another. Hence, if the same API are provided, then it would be possible to abstract the data center itself. I've talked that we can abstract the data center itself in previous slide. We can easily migrate physical environment to the new one having this abstraction. Also, we can easily set hardware lifecycle, so can keep to have latest hardware and technology continuously. Okay, let's move to next topic. The function of the IaaS can be divided to three things: basic function, minor function by each vendors, and the unique function used by each company. The unique function is such as monitoring system for security, approval system, and compliance monitoring. Before adopting OpenStack, we developed IaaS by ourselves. There were more than 10,000 instances operated in the environment before OpenStack. But the problem was that the API were proprietary and it could not cope with open source software. And now, after adopting OpenStack, we can use the common APIs, and it has been more compatible with open source software. The basic functions of the IaaS are developed by the community. We developed the unique function by ourselves. And the minor function for the appliances will be developed by the cooperation of the vendors. We call this co-creation. By developing together, we can get the new function that is needed, and vendors can highlight the function to sell the product. Also, if there are people who want to use it, they can use the product has been proved to be operated in the large-scale environment at Yahoo Japan. We want a data center that evolves. To reach this, we need the concept of the data center lifecycle management to keep the technology evolving. We can use the same APIs in all of the environments. The user do not need to be aware of the difference of the physical environment. This will allow us to use the right environment at the right time. We are able to abstract the data center itself by this concept. Also, the cost is important. Even though it is an internal private cloud, the user should be aware of the cost. Lastly, we consider that co-creation with our partners important. We contribute back to OpenStack community by releasing the work we do with vendors. In Yahoo Japan, OpenStack is operated as an infrastructure to support many users. One of the great things about open source software is that everyone's efforts combine to make success stories. The activities of the OpenStack community support important applications like Yahoo Japan. I would like to say thank you to all the OpenStackers.
Thank you, Ito-san, for coming and sharing that story. It's so exciting when we do these summits and we're able to travel around and we meet so many awesome users, developers, companies. It's just one of my favorite things that we get to do. The interesting thing that he mentioned is exactly what we were talking about earlier. This one platform with all of those capabilities that you care about. Virtual machines, bare metal, containers, emerging technologies. These are things that are happening in OpenStack and our open development model with all of the innovation that our community is building. One of the things that was in the Keynote release was the ability to federate identity between OpenStack clouds. And this was something that we talked about in Vancouver. If you go to that marketplace I mentioned earlier, you'll see a number of companies who are already supporting this. I mean, think about that kind of turnaround of innovation on a feature like federated identity. It comes out in Kilo 5 months ago, and now it's already downstream in commercial products and services that are available. So that is what is so cool about OpenStack. You know, it's the only platform that lets you do this. Bring together all of this innovation, containers, bare metal, virtual machines, platform as a service, private cloud, public cloud, tie it all together with federated identity. It is incredible what we're building here. So I want to just close by saying thank you to everyone who contributes to the software, who contributes to these events, to local events in your countries, and to the community overall. Thank you very much. You're making a huge impact, and I love seeing what's happening in this community and what we're doing to the technology world. So thank you guys, and let's have an awesome week here in Tokyo. In Paris, we started awarding the Super User Award to a team from an organization that was doing really great things in transforming the way their organizations use technology and also in pushing the community forward for OpenStack. Comcast won the Super User Award in Vancouver. CERN won that inaugural one in Paris. And we're going to go ahead and reveal the latest Super User Award winner. So we have Mark Mule and Sheila Saby from Comcast to come back and help us make this announcement. But before we do that, I just wanted to mention that, as you know, we have the board of directors, we have the technical committee, and we also have the user committee, who are all key parts of the governance of the OpenStack Foundation. And Sheila was just named as the latest and newest member of our OpenStack user committee. So help me welcome Mark and Sheila.
Thanks, Jonathan. It's a privilege to be here today to pass on the Super User Award. We've got some slide issues here. One second. There we go. It's not running on OpenStack. So the Super User Award is meant to recognize teams using OpenStack to meaningfully transform and improve their organizations while still giving back to the community.
The impressive nominees are reviewed by the super user judges, and they're narrowed down to 4. The winners are then chosen by a community vote. More information on this process can be found on the infographic in the print version of the Super User magazine, or in the User Stories track.
And here are our finalists.
All right, the first company, FICO. FICO is a global credit scoring company. 90% of lending decisions are based on the FICO system. FICO has tripled in size and number of deployments and serving multiple Fortune 500 companies in production with OpenStack.
And our second nominee is GoDaddy, one of the largest web hosting providers in the world, serving more than 13 million customers on the OpenStack platform. Congratulations. And consistent 25% growth month over month.
All right, and the third company is Lithium Technologies. Lithium Technologies provides social customer experience management software to customers. They've currently got 1,000 VMs and expected to double by the year's end. Like Lachlan mentioned earlier, they also implemented Kubernetes running on top of OpenStack VMs.
And our fourth finalist is the NTT Group, one of the largest telecom companies in Japan. They're going to be sharing several of their use cases this week, including one on a web portal serving 1 billion page views and 170 million unique visitors per month. And at the 1-year snapshot, they had their Docomo email platform processing 170 million messages per day. And the winner is...
Drum roll. NTT Group.
Come on up stage, guys. Congratulations. Come on over.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Congrats. Congratulations. Well done. Well done. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congrats. How are you? Come on in. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Come on up for a picture. Everybody come on down. We'll have to scoot it more. Can you go down this way?
Yes.
Come on. Big group.
Here, you can.
That is a big group.
Here.
Wow.
So many.
Come along in front. There we go.
All right. All right. Quick picture.
Come on out here.
All right, thank you. So in addition to this beautiful trophy, which you get to take back and display with pride, we also are going to be paying for the travel and lodging and passes for 2 of your team to go to our next event, which is going to be in April of 2016 in Austin, Texas. So thank you guys and congratulations. Yeah, thank you. All right. Go back down, head off over the stage.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to give this back to Jonathan.
Yes, good job. Well, thank you, Mark and Sheila, and thank you for your continued contributions as well from Comcast. That was quite a crew. I hope Tech, built this stage well. That's what I was thinking as they all came running up here. So congratulations to NTT. It's great to have a new super user crowned, and we'll do it again in Austin. Look for when we open nominations and get your submissions in. Next up, we have a video from our first headline sponsor, NEC.
Orchestrating a brighter world, NEC.
So when we first started the foundation, we had support from a lot of great companies that wanted to help push OpenStack forward. And one of the very early contributors and supporters was NEC. And they started out with focused contributions in a lot of areas and have grown over time to become one of the top 10 contributors. And as we put this summit on and as we've come to Japan, we've had a lot of help and support from our next speaker, who is on our board of directors. Help me welcome Sugikaze Shibata.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sugikaze Shibata. I'm really glad to have OpenStack Summit in Tokyo. Thank you for coming and welcome again. Yeah, this is our corporate brand message. As you can see in our video, NEC has lots of unique technologies. NEC is providing social value by collaborating with our technologies and open technologies. NEC sees that OpenStack is our best collaborative open source for cloud computing. So we joined OpenStack community 2011, and we are now top 10 contributor in the past couple of years. Oh, thank you. And we joined OpenStack Foundation 2012 as a gold member. At that time, I was the only person from Japan, and I discussed with foundation staff and many of member companies the success of OpenStack. And when I joined OpenStack Foundation, I never thought I will stand on this stage, keynote address in Tokyo. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm also very happy to be here. Okay. Thank you. So since I joined OpenStack Foundation, I've been watching the growth of OpenStack community and ecosystem. And it is amazing that the rapid growth of OpenStack community. A huge number of developers get together, establishing new projects, developing new features, and fixing lots of bugs. This is the power of open source. Say, hey, yeah. Oh, sorry. And it is amazing. Many different server, storage, and network equipments being able to attach to OpenStack by providing own driver from the companies. Also, number of distributors being available. These things increase the possibility to use of OpenStack. And it is amazing. Thank you. Number of excellent keynote from super user like NTT being presented at every summit. I was always surprised for their new use cases. All those things are really great. And during such amazing situation, I found an important point and would like to talk about that. But before that, let me brief point about super user. Super users are opening up their experience and contributing to the community. To become a super user for ordinary users, users should build their own cloud and accumulate their experience, even if it takes long months. So I'm sure we all imagine the super users are doing a great work, and so that they are super. And actually, it is not easy work for ordinary users. So what I wanted to talk about is an integrator to help user to be closer to super user. The concept is OpenStack Super Integrator. Super Integrator builds OpenStack Cloud as an integrator, and I would like to add 2 points as a super integrator. One, be open. Many types of problems found during integration and operations. To open up such matter and share with community, that will be a good input to improve OpenStack, and that makes OpenStack better. Two, contribute to the community. Source code contribution is a very important matter for open source. So Super Integrator helps user work with community to develop user-required feature or enhancements. That will always be beneficial for everyone. By such activity of Super Integrator, more users will be able to use OpenStack, and this will increase new users, and that will expand ecosystem. It is a new value, and we need number of super integrator in our ecosystem. So how we can realize this concept? Let me answer that question by presenting the case of NEC. NEC has extensive knowledge and experience for both computing and networking. Based on that, we are manufacturing better products such as server hardware best fit for the cloud computing and network equipment using SDN technologies. NEC is providing integration and operation service for both carrier and enterprise customers. Through such experience, NEC understands the characteristics and demand for customers' system. In terms of OpenStack, NEC is both a user and an integrator. As a user, we built OpenStack Cloud a year and a half ago. And as an integrator, we announced an integration service using Cloud Service Experience a week ago. NEC is evolving our capability by using experience for both cloud service and integration service on the other side. Yes, NEC has these capabilities, and I believe these are the factor to be closer to super integrator. So, where does OpenStack expand? Where will it be used? I think it's IoT, as all you can easy to imagine. IoT era is beginning to be made, so several billions of devices connected to the internet, a huge data will be gathered, and it should be analyzed, so the scalable cloud is required. Needless to say, OpenStack is a natural choice. Oh, thank you. NEC thinks IoT is important system for social infrastructure so that it should be stable and reliable. So I believe the continuous development cycle working with community is very important to create such system. And also super integrator to integrate this type of system will become increasingly important, and it will be an engine to create further value. Of course, this type of system cannot be created by a single company, so partners in the ecosystem should work together. In other words, style of the collaboration will stay the same. As for the conclusion, I briefly spoken about the concept of super integrator. This is just announced, so I'd like to have discussion with other integrators and many other related persons how to grow the super integrator. And I believe super integrator will provide new value to user and community, and that will expand ecosystem. NEC will work hard toward super integrator, and through such activities, we will provide new value to user and OpenStack ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Shibata-san. So, we've talked a lot about OpenStack, and we've talked a lot about the different technologies that it can encompass. Ultimately, the point of all of that is to be able to run applications on top of it and to be able to build applications faster. And Lachlan gave us an awesome demo around that. Well, our next speaker is definitely an expert in the area of building, packaging, deploying applications on top of clouds, and I'm really excited to have her here. Welcome the COO of Bitnami, Erica Brescia.
Thank you. And congratulations to everyone on the recent release of Liberty. It was so exciting to open up the 451 Group report the other day and see that over $1.2 billion in revenue will be generated related to OpenStack just this year. And that number is expected to double by 2017. It's absolutely incredible to see how far OpenStack has come in just over 5 years. As Jonathan mentioned, my name is Erica Brescia, and I'm the COO and co-founder of Bitnami. I'm here today to talk to you about banishing the shadow cloud. For those of you who haven't heard the term before, what I mean when I refer to shadow cloud is essentially any cloud other than the one that you're building or that you want your customers or users using. To give you a little bit of perspective on Bitnami, we package over 130 different applications and development environments, ranging from CRM and ERP platforms to online learning to Node, Rails, and PHP development environments. Our users come from all over the world and virtually every industry, and we have over 1 million deployments a month of all the applications that we package. Our users are developers, about 70% of them are developers, 20% are business users, and 10% are systems integrators. And they come from all over the world to deploy Bitnami apps, both locally and in cloud platforms. While we do support a number of smaller companies, over 10% of our user base comes from companies with 1,000 or more employees, including many of the world's major brands. They come from banks, pharmaceutical companies, governments, and more. In terms of cloud platforms that we support, we're on virtually every major cloud platform in the US, including Amazon, Google Cloud, and Microsoft Azure. And I'm excited to pre-announce that we'll be releasing on Oracle Cloud Platform in just a few hours in San Francisco at Open World. Thank you. We're on a couple of publicly available OpenStack-based clouds already, and we have more on the way. And it's been really exciting to hear more than one public cloud provider in the last couple of months talk about moving from their existing cloud platforms to OpenStack. I'm really excited to see that kind of momentum in the public cloud space. We've also contributed a number of application images, glance images, to the community app catalog that is currently being hosted by the OpenStack Foundation. So we have a huge range of users using Bitnami applications, both in the cloud and behind the firewall, for a huge variety of use cases. And I feel like that gives us a very unique perspective on what people are looking for in a cloud platform. At the end of the day, people really want two things. They want ease of use and a great ecosystem. In terms of ease of use, they want an app store that's populated with secure, tested, and reliable images that they can deploy quickly to get up and running with whatever it is that they're trying to do on the cloud. And in terms of an ecosystem, they want to see tools, services, and documentation that can help them get up and running. If you think about it, it's actually easier to go to a public cloud platform today than to do something locally. If you're trying to run in a traditional IT environment, downloading a huge VM to run on your hypervisor, it slows down your system and takes longer than just going to a cloud platform, saying, I want a Node environment, and getting up and running in a few clicks. That's the experience that you have to provide if you want people to use your OpenStack-based cloud platform. I'll dig into all of these things a little bit deeper later in my talk. So, what are the consequences of not meeting expectations around ease of use and providing a great ecosystem? The answer is very simple. People just won't use your cloud. And unfortunately, you'll probably be the last person to know about it. At Bitnami, I see this all of the time. I've had multiple people come to me and ask me to build them for things like office furniture just to fly under the radar of their IT environments. With the exception of highly regulated and locked down environments, people will choose the path of least resistance every single time. So, if you want people using your platform, you need to provide a great experience out of the box. So, what are the main things that people are looking for when deploying a cloud platform? I think it's actually not cost savings or performance, although those are obviously incredibly important. Everybody certainly wants to save money. But it's actually agility. Companies need to be able to get solutions to market faster. They need to go from years to months or even weeks. The attributes that I'm going to cover later in this presentation are actually going to support, or their consequences, of trying to provide a cloud that provides a consistent development and deployment experience. So ease of use is a really key feature and very near and dear to my heart at Bitnami, as that's one of the things that we're focused on. People are used to installing apps on their iPhone or Android phone in just a few clicks. They want an app store-like experience. People don't want to have to read lengthy user guides or follow complex deployment processes just to get up and running in a cloud. You have to provide the iPhone or smartphone-like experience in order to get people using your cloud platform. The days of RTFM are truly dead. And this applies to every aspect of your platform, from the sign-up process to the app marketplace, to the deployment process, to the APIs and management console. I've actually had more than one cloud provider ask me to fax in forms to get my cloud environment provisioned. That's right, we're talking about using technology from the 1840s to get a cloud up and running. If you're doing that, I'm sorry to tell you, but you are doing it wrong. If you want people to use your cloud platform, you have to make the onboarding process extremely easy. And this applies to your partners as well. It makes a world of difference if you can provide a way for partners, at least in a public cloud environment, to self-service with listing their applications and maintaining them. We've integrated with a whole slew of different cloud marketplaces, and I can tell you that me and my team have felt the pain of not having this firsthand. It slowed down our process of getting new applications updated, and it slows down things on the side of the cloud vendor. So please focus on making it incredibly easy for application vendors to list their products and keep those up to date. If you don't do that, even if they get their application listed, they won't maintain it, and you'll not have that healthy ecosystem that users are looking for, again, at least in a public cloud environment. I think most vendors understand this in concept. Everybody knows that you need to make things easy, but I continue to see people underinvesting in this piece when it comes to reality, and it hurts them in terms of adoption. People will just go elsewhere if it's not easy enough. Ensuring consistency on your cloud also helps people get the most out of it and provides a more secure environment. You need to capture organizational best practices in your tooling. For example, if you've standardized around things like governance or logging or monitoring, build these into a base images that can be shared across your team and individual developers. Also, provide people with reusable components that they can use as building blocks to bring new solutions to market faster. This will save you a ton of time and also provide a much more secure platform because everybody is using a shared set of components that can be updated more easily. Automation is obviously at the core of any cloud solution, so I'm sure none of you are surprised to hear me mention it today. It's important that you integrate with either your internal or external customers' tooling, but also to support new and emerging standards like the Kubernetes orchestration platform. This will save your users time and reduce the time to market for new solutions and production applications. It also obviously facilitates ease of use and makes operating in hybrid cloud environments much easier as the tooling can be shared across environments. So, curation. We've all seen what happens in unpoliced marketplaces and repositories. Users don't want to have to go through a sea of different images trying to find the one that meets their needs. They also don't want to see 20 versions of the same application image and try to figure out which one is going to best meet their needs. At best, they'll waste a ton of time trying to find the right one, and at worst, they'll pick one at random, and you'll be left to pick up the pieces. So make sure that the applications in your library are always up to date and maintained. This is especially important in the case of things like Heartbleed. You need to be able to update your images incredibly quickly. And having a curated set of images that is well maintained will help you to do that. Finally, help people move from development to production. You need to support the full application lifecycle, from development and testing on to production. Again, I think a lot of people understand this in practice, but the tools are not quite there yet. And this should certainly be the final goal. You don't want people running OpenStack as a separate cloud to their real infrastructure and then having to move things over. You'll just lose out on a lot of benefits of the cloud that way. So, we've covered a lot of the characteristics of what it takes to build a great cloud platform. And this is what you need to do in order to keep users using your platform rather than going to the shadow cloud. The key is to focus on building a complete solution that meets the needs of your users, whether internal or external, rather than focusing on the underlying technology components. Users want speed, ease of use, consistency, automation, and curation. And the OpenStack distros are a fantastic starting point for this, but they're not complete solutions yet. So you need to go out and partner with third parties to provide the complete solution that your users need. There are a lot of great technology partners out there that can help you do that. And you need to provide a library of curated, tested, and standards-based images that make it easy for new users to get up and running on your platform. Murano and Heat from OpenStack are great starts to that, but they still need to be populated. At the end of the day, if you want users to stay on your platform rather than going around it to other clouds, you need to make it more convenient and easier to use than any other cloud platforms. And that's the only way to banish the shadow cloud and keep users on your platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. That was, I think that was all really useful information that is right in line with what we hear from every operator that we bring up here. They want to build an environment that is as appealing or more appealing than the other options out there. That's what we have to deliver with OpenStack. So thank you for that. Now we have another video from Intel.
We are instinctually curious, ambitious, with lofty goals and an innate need for community, and occasionally with aspirations that extend far beyond our planet. We live in a world where our accomplishments are measured not by medals or ribbons, but by the altitude of our ambition. Ambition to contribute and collectively affect positive change. It's here, as part of the global open source community, that innovation flows most freely. Innovation that has been gathering momentum in the cloud. Cloud environments developed on OpenStack and optimized for Intel architecture. The OpenStack community has enjoyed meteoric growth. In only a few short years, OpenStack has become the launchpad for open cloud creation. And through Intel's heritage of open innovation, we're helping create massive developer clouds, scalable clouds, resilient clouds, simpler clouds, networking clouds, accelerated clouds, for everyone. It's in this open environment that Intel is helping unleash tens of thousands of new clouds, and a diverse range of global customers are reaping the benefits. Intel inside, infinite possibility outside.
In a second, we're going to hear from several Japanese users, and they're going to be speaking in Japanese. So English speakers, find your headsets now. But first up, we are going to hear from another one of our board members and Vice President and GM at Intel, Ahmad Sousa. There you go. Thanks.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So 6 months ago at the OpenStack Summit in Vancouver, I spoke about Intel's vision that the cornerstone of the modern data center is software-defined infrastructure. And I spoke that the cornerstone of software-defined infrastructure is OpenStack. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit more about this, and I would like to tell you a little bit more about what we are doing there. When we look at what's happening in the industry, there is general consensus, certainly amongst analysts, that there's going to be some 50 billion devices out there that are connected over the next few years, with the vast majority of these devices connected to the internet and get their applications and services through the internet. And we believe that OpenStack is going to play a central role in this massive growth in both the data center and in IoT. But we also understand that OpenStack is a very young technology that is still, fairly hard to use and still needs a lot of work and maturation. Because of this, we at Intel have launched a new initiative that is called the Intel Cloud for All. And our ultimate objective with Intel Cloud for All is to create and deploy tens of thousands of clouds. We believe that this is doable, but it will take a lot of work from all of us to make this happen. On one part, one of the key things that we need to do is to invest in the technology, making the technology great and making OpenStack a great platform that is scalable, that is mature. And that takes time, and that takes a lot of effort, and that takes a lot of investment in the OpenStack project and in the OpenStack upstream. But we also have to figure out how to align and how to create solutions, deployable solutions, to make those 10,000s of deployments of the cloud, viable and reality. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we are doing in this area. So as part of Cloud for All, a few months ago, we launched the OpenStack Innovation Center in partnership with Rackspace. So the OpenStack Innovation Center has two major components. So the first component is that we are creating an upstream engineering team. So this is not recycled engineers from Intel who are just reallocated to the OpenStack Innovation Center. These are new engineers that we are bringing on that are completely dedicated to the development on the OpenStack project and the OpenStack upstream. And one of the things that we're doing in terms of the working model of this engineering team, which by the way, it's already at some few dozen engineers, and that will be growing rapidly. But the development model that we created is that we tied what these engineers do very strongly to the wonderful working group that are part of the OpenStack Foundation. Primarily the products working group, the enterprise working group, and the telco working group, where literally those engineers in the OpenStack Innovation Center will be taking the wonderful work that's been done by the OpenStack working group and really translating that into real code and bug fixes and whatever that needs to happen to satisfy those requirements by those working groups. And it works also the other way. We're expecting and we're pushing our engineering team to also contribute back into those working groups to better the quality of those requirements and the things that needs to happen as a result of their work in the OpenStack project. The second part of the OpenStack Innovation Center is that we are building two data centers. with 1,000 servers each of these data centers. And these data centers will be dedicated completely to the development and to the testing and scaling of OpenStack project and OpenStack developers. So these data centers will be completely open to OpenStack developers to use and to test their patches and so on to make sure that these patches are scaled. So today, I'm very thrilled to announce that one of those data centers is already open, and we would love for you to start actually using and testing your patches, in this big, fairly large data center. So we're very excited about the OpenStack Innovation Center that we kicked off, but that's not the only thing that we are doing. We're doing a lot of other things. Another exciting investment that we have made is our investment in Mirantis, where a big part of this investment is also along the same line of what we are doing with the OpenStack Innovation Center. That is, with a strong engineering collaboration with our partners at Mirantis to help make OpenStack enterprise ready. So this is on the upstream and on the work that we are doing with the OpenStack project. Now, the other piece of this is that we have to make available full solutions that are used as commercial solutions that are based on OpenStack. And we have plenty of those. With Red Hat, we are extending our on-ramp to the cloud program to create enterprise-ready solutions. And today, Lenovo just joined this program. With HP, we're extending our collaboration with HP to create a large number of POC and customer trials as part of the HP Intel Solution Center. And with Mirantis, where Intel platforms are the underpinning of the Mirantis unlocked appliances, we're happy to announce that Supermicro also joins this program today. And finally, we as Intel have made investments in 99 Cloud and AW Cloud. These are two companies in China who also have joined the Intel Cloud in a Box program. The Intel Cloud in a Box program gives an OpenStack-based solution that's already been deployed with over 100 customers in China. And we're thrilled about the progress that we are beginning to make in these solutions. On the telco side, we've been focusing mostly on creating, and on the upstream to help make OpenStack career grade. We launched the Intel Network Builder Fast Track with the objective of deploying and creating end-to-end solutions for NFV and SDN. And today, we are thrilled to announce that Red Hat is joining our program and extending our already very strong collaboration with Red Hat to deliver these great solutions, telco solutions, based on OpenStack. Now, all of this is great, and every time I speak, I usually like to talk a little bit about innovation. And because it really does matter. And in our industry, innovation does matter a great deal because this is what makes our industry great. And this time around, when we were looking at, hey, what is it that we should highlight in our OpenStack Summit keynote? And it turned out none of the things that were on the list. It was an item that, it was a feature that actually made a lot of my engineers who, when I said, hey, this is what I want to show, it's like really they rolled their eyes. And they rolled their eyes because it's like, hey, Imad, this is just a bug fix. But I do believe that this bug fix is probably one of the best innovation that we would like to see more of. And by the way, the feature which was done by the Clear Linux team at Intel is just to take how fast you launch a VM and optimize it, which basically around fixing a lot of bugs, and have it start up in 4 seconds. The reason this caught my attention is because at the last OpenStack Summit, I saw quite a number of demos in various talks where somebody would start up a VM. And that, starting up that VM, it would take, I mean, they would start the VM and they would go talk a little bit and walk through some slides and have a discussion, and 40 seconds later, 50 seconds later, the VM starts. So I would like to show you this. There's a short video of this. Okay, that's it. That's the demo. And to be quite honest with you, this is the type of innovation that we need. And this is the type of innovation that we want. And this is the type of innovation that we want to reward. And this is the type of things that will, quite candidly, will make or break OpenStack. We have got to make OpenStack great. We all depend on it. And we are at Intel, we're completely committed to this vision, to making OpenStack great. Thank you very much, and have a nice summit.
Thank you. Thank you, Ahmad. We are now going to have several speakers who are going to be speaking Japanese, so that's channel 2 for those of you that, like me, need to hear the English translation. Our next user is a public cloud provider here in Japan. And we've heard from a number of users who are running OpenStack in their data centers for private clouds. But if you look at pretty much every deployment of any size out there at any organization, they're using a combination of private clouds and public clouds. And Lachlan talked earlier about how he was integrating Amazon in. So there's a lot of different ways that you do this. And obviously, OpenStack has a number of public clouds in, I think, over a dozen countries around the world as well, including this next one that we're going to hear from, which is the Konoha Cloud from GMO here in Japan. So help me welcome from GMO, Saito-san.
皆様こんにちは。我々は GMO インターネットという会社です。インターネットに関連したビジネスを展開しており、日本でナンバー1の総合インターネットグループです。主な事業はホスティング、クラウド、ドメインレジストラ、e コマース、決済、広告、メディア、オンライントレーディングなどです。現在、世界17カ国で事業を展開しています。グループ会社は86社、スタッフ数は4415人です。そのうちエンジニアは 40% にも上ります。現在我々は4つのプロダクトの基盤としてオープンスタックを採用しています。我々は自社のサービスを自分たちの手で設計、実装、運用を行うことによってユーザーに対して最適なサービスをスピーディーに提供できることができると考えているからです。オープンスタックには我々のようなクラウドサービス事業者にとって必要な多くのコンポーネントが揃っています。そしてオープンスタックを利用することで我々は常にプロダクトを改善することができています。我々は2011年頃からオープンスタックを利用しています。現在我々のオープンスタックベースのプロダクトは顧客数は1万5000以上、1400近くのサーバー、4つのリージョンから構成されています。バージョンはディアブロ、グリズリー、ハバナ、ジュノを利用しています。今日は我々の戦略上非常に重要な2つのオープンスタックベースのクラウドサービスを紹介したいと思います。そして我々のクラウドを利用している素晴らしいサービスをご紹介したいと思います。1つ目はコノハです。コノハは我々が今年ですね、2015年にリリースしたパブリッククラウドサービスです。バックエンドにはオープンスタックジュノを使用しています。特徴はすべてのストレージが SSD で構成されていることです。そのため非常に高速です。ストレージの部分はオープンスタックシンダーとネクセンタストアで実装されています。ネクセンタストアはネクセンタシステムのソフトウェアディファインドストレージ、SDS ですね、のプロダクトです。これにより SDS によるコストメリットと SSD の高いパフォーマンス、これらを両立することができています。コノハは我々の戦略上重要なクラウドサービスの一つです。ここでコノハの顧客であります C チャンネルを紹介したいと思います。 C チャンネルはスマートフォン向け動画サービスで、日本はもちろん世界でも急成長しているサービスです。それでは森川社長、お願いいたします。よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。皆さんこんにちは。C チャンネルの森川です。僕は今年の春まで LINE の代表をしておりまして、そして4月からこの C チャンネルという動画の女性向けのファッションマガジンというコンセプトのサービスを立ち上げました。どういうものかと言いますと、今世界中でスマートフォンの波、そしてかつ動画の波が急速に訪れています。その中で何が変わってきているかというと、今まではテレビもしくはパソコンで検索をして動画を見るという時代から、スマートフォン上に流れてくるさまざまな動画を気軽に楽しむ、そういった時代に変わりつつあります。で、僕自身はもともとテレビ局にいてさまざまなメディアの事業をやって、今回新しいメディアの時代を作ろうということで、この C チャンネルというサービスを立ち上げました。そして僕たちはこの動画メディアを通じて、昔 MTV とか CNN が生まれたようなグローバルのメディアブランドを日本初で世界に作っていきたいというふうに考えています。で、具体的にどんなものかといいますと、今まで映像の革命が起きたときは、撮影機材とそれを見る受像機、この2つが同時に変わったときにイノベーションが起こっています。で、今回はですね、スマートフォンで撮ってスマートフォンで編集をして、そしてスマートフォンで見るという仕組みを作りました。それを今150名程度の世界中の女性たちが自分たちで撮ってそれをアップしています。ニューヨーク、ソウル、台北、シンガポール、バンコク、ジャカルタ、ドバイ、そして日本の国内だと東京はもちろんのこと、札幌、福岡、そして大阪、名古屋、こういったところにいる女性たちがですね、スマートフォンで撮ってスマートフォンで編集をして、そしてスマートフォンでアップすると、これが24時間行われているわけですね。ある意味女性だけの動画による通信社が、この半年ぐらいで一気にできたという状況になっています。で、幸いさまざまな女性に受け入れられていまして、9月の動画の再生数が800万を超えました。まだまだ少ないんですが、動画の数も4000ほどにたどり着きまして、この勢いで来年は億単位の月間億単位の再生まで伸ばしたいと思っています。で、こういったアクセスが増える中で、今回 GMO さんのインフラを使わせていただいています。皆さんご存知の通り、動画というのは非常にデータ量も多く、またバンド幅も高い、かつモバイルで提供するということで、安定的にサービスを提供できるような会社とお付き合いしたいというふうに思いました。そういう中で、GMO さんはさまざまなデータセンターの実績もありますし、また新しい技術を積極的に活用する技術力も高いということで、期待をしてご一緒することになりました。ぜひ GMO のサービス、そして C チャンネルを今後ともよろしくお願いします。Thank you。
ありがとうございました。森川社長、ありがとうございました。ではもう一つ、我々にとって重要なプロダクトを紹介したいと思います。こちらもオープンスタックベースのクラウドであり、GMO アプリクラウドです。このクラウドはゲームアプリに特化した機能を持つクラウドです。現在 GMO アプリクラウド上では1500以上のタイトルが稼働しています。GMO アプリクラウドは低いネットワークレイテンシー、非常に高速なフラッシュストレージである IO ドライブ2、またベアメタルサーバーを利用することができるのが特徴です。GMO アプリクラウドはバックエンドにオープンスタック、ハバナと最近はジュノを使っております。それではここでまた GMO アプリクラウドの顧客であるエイミング株式会社を紹介したいと思います。エイミング株式会社は非常に人気のある オンラインゲームですね。オンラインゲームを数多くプロデュースされている会社様です。それではエイミングの小林様、お願いいたします。
こんにちは。エイミングの小林です。本日はですね、我々のプロダクトの中から、特に GMO アプリクラウドを使っているプロダクトをいくつか紹介したいと思います。エイミングというのに聞き慣れない人もいるかと思いますが、我々は世界一面白いスマートフォンオンラインゲームを作ろうとして、2011年に設立された会社です。で今年2015年の、3月にですね、東証マザーズに IPO をいたしまして、従業員は527人を超えました。結構な速さで、成長していますが、この従業員というのは東京、大阪、台湾、台北、この3拠点を、含めた合計の数です。我々はミッドコアと呼ばれる、層をターゲットとしてまして、いわゆる何時間もテレビの前でそのゲームをやるような層でもなく、一方でたまにパズルゲームをやるような層でもなく、その中間層は、スマートフォンで、そういったゲームを遊ぶのではないかという仮説に基づいて会社を作りまして、会社の設立時期からそういう層に向けた、サービスを提供しています。これが我々が、GMO アプリクラウドさんを、使っている、タイトルの、になります。3つありまして、剣と魔法のログレス、古の女神と、もう一つはバリアントレギオン、あと姫神山木というこの、3つがあるんですが、700万、200万、100万を超えるダウンロードをいただきまして、それぞれオープンスタック上に構築されたシステムで構成されています。特にこの剣と魔法のログレス、古の女神というのは好評いただいてまして、我々の開発したタイトルの中でも、最もヒットしているというか、日本初のスマートフォン MMO の成功タイトルっていうふうにも言えると思います。内容としてはこの画面のようにですね、多くの人が同時に操作をしながら、リアルタイム性の高いチャットとか、バトルを通して、ゲームを進めていくような、そういう内容になっています。Roll the video. このようなゲームでして、リリースして以来ほぼこれはアップアニーのですね、順位のグラフなんですが、ほぼ10位以内をキープしているということになっています。iOS のセールスランキングで日本のマーケットにてトップセールスを記録したこともあります。その他にですね、GMO アプリクラウドさんを利用しているタイトルとしてバリアントレギオンというのがあります。これはハック&スラッシュというタイプのゲームです。この画面のようにですね、4人同時にプレイしてリアルタイム性の高いアクションを行うことで、ゲームを進めていくような、そういうゲームになります。こちらが今年リリースしました姫神絵巻というタイトルでして、これは、GMO アプリクラウドさんの中でも比較的、新しい、バージョンのオープンスタックを用いて構築されているゲームになります。 その他 MO アクション、対戦ゴルフ、ストラテジーなどいろいろなタイプのゲームを作っているんですが、我々の、売上ベースですけども、会社はこのように、右肩上がりに成長しておりまして、で、今後の、成長スキームなんですけども、我々が開発しているタイトルで、いくつかのタイトルがあるんですが、そのうちのカジュアル MMO のタイトルを、近々リリースしようと考えております。あとですね、ちょうど先週なんですけども、剣と魔法のログレスの、反対時中国語版を、リリースいたしました。これはガリーナ社という会社との共同でやらせていただいてまして、台湾、香港、マカオで、やらせていただいております。あとはですね、3DMMORPG のロストレガリアというタイトルを、ライセンスインとして持ってきて運用しております。これも先週リリースいたしました。あとはですね、ゲームクリエイターインキュベーションリミテッドっていう、インキュベーションっていう、有限責任事業組合というのに出資をいたしまして、新しいオンラインゲーム会社の育成であるとかっていうところに、コミットしていきたいなと思っております。以上です。Thank you。ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。小林様ありがとうございました。我々のクラウドプロダクトの中から今我々の戦略上非常に重要な2つのプロダクト、コノハと GM アプリクラウドについてお話ししました。そしてそれらのオープンスタッククラウド上で動いている2つのサービスについてもご紹介をしました。我々のホスティングサービスについて詳しいことを知りたい場合はぜひマーケットプレイスの T49 ブースに来てください。オープンスタックは我々のようなクラウド事業者にとって大きなベネフィットをもたらしています。オープンスタック上に我々のような事業者がクラウドサービスを構築して、さらにその上に魅力的なサービスが構築される。そしてそれらを多くのユーザーが利用します。オープンスタックはあらゆるビジネスにとってなくてはならないプラットフォームであると言えるです。我々はこれからもオープンスタックを使い続けるでしょう。どうもありがとうございます。Thank you.
Thank you, Saito-san and GMO for that, and also especially for bringing some of your end users here. I think it's really great for us to kick off the week hearing from Erica about developers and apps, and then we get to hear from some of the companies that are building those on OpenStack clouds, and that's just a great way to kind of keep us focused on what we need to be working on. So that wraps it up for this morning. Please leave your simultaneous interpretation headsets on your seat. We will be using those again tomorrow. And as you go through this week, make sure that you meet new friends and have a good time with OpenStack, and tweet as you go along with We Are OpenStack. Thank you, everybody.